everyone. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Fernando Mendez, welcoming you to the last meeting of the week, the podcast in which we talk to the coolest and most creative people in Hong Kong. On my left, I have the fantastic Filippo Sebastio, which is, without him, this wouldn't happen as it's happening, and we wouldn't have as much fun as we're having. And in front of me, I have a lady from a very special place that I know for a very long time, and with who it's always a pleasure to catch up. Also because you are a little bit difficult to find because you are so busy. She's actually probably the person from the coolest place I know, and from the place I want to die in. And so before showing her, I just want to make everyone a little bit envious. So can we cut to camera 4, please? There you go. So the question that everyone will ask him or herself is why this person has left this place. Amy, Company Butler, welcome to the last meeting of the week.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Before anything else, what do you think about what we did with this space?
Well, it's amazing.
we upgraded a little bit, eh?
Yeah, it looks really, it's really cool here. Yeah.
How was the week? How is the coming back from the holidays been for you?
I mean, I was on holiday I think for more than a month ago. Last time I was in Spain, and I think it was pretty hardcore after until 2 weeks later I didn't recover my jet lag, and then I was so depressed because I love Spain in the summer, but now as I kind of get deep into my work back again, then I feel so much better, and I love being here and get being buried by work is just an amazing feeling. But yeah, in summer Spain is amazing, so I miss Spain a lot.
When did you come back?
I think last month.
Okay, I have the feeling that in Hong Kong during summer, I did come back also end of July, and it was a little bit depressing. It felt like during COVID Hong Kong. Then I realized that September is not bringing me the same type of feeling.
Yeah,
it's like things have gone back a little bit to 2018.
Yeah.
It's like things were like they were when we met.
Yeah.
So Amy and I, we met in a co-working space full of millennials that were touching their naked feet, their bare feet, and leaving everything super filthy, and making a lot of noise. So one time we looked at each other and we said, why don't we find another place and we get out of here? So our relationship was born. It was very functional because I couldn't probably afford a place, and I think that you could save a little bit of money, and then we became friends. And I got the chance to discover a super interesting journey that keeps on, has evolved since we stopped working together. What do you think? Let's say I would love to just go back to the beginning, to what I showed everyone at the beginning. So, by the way, is this your house or you just took this from the internet?
I wish it was my house.
You should have lied.
My house is actually not white, and I always tell my parents to paint it white because Ibiza houses should always be white, but it's so dirty and it's so impractical. So my father is like, there's no way I'm gonna have this. It was white at some point, but we had a pool also, we had a backyard, but it was not as impressive as this one, I have to say.
Okay, maybe this is also this will be a manifestation.
Yeah.
So now when you go back to Ibiza, you go back to Mallorca.
I go back to Mallorca now. My parents live in Mallorca currently, but they still own a place in Ibiza, so we are always going back and forth from Ibiza to Mallorca. Yeah, but home is Mallorca now.
Home is Mallorca. Okay. So, and also Mallorca is somehow the beginning when you started, why you started.
Yeah.
I always knew your story since you started working in the kitchen and bathroom company, but I never asked you why you started studying design in the first place.
Yeah. I never had a passion per se. I always knew I like to draw and I like to arrange rooms, and I always was very good at arts. I will fail everything but art. I will even fail music. I'll fail everything but art. But I had a very sort of trouble teenage years. and my brother started to study graphic design. And then one day he came home with this leaflet, and he said, "Yo, you should study this. This course is for you, like, you know, interior design." And then I thought, like, I'm gonna give it a go, and I just went there. And then I had the exam to pass. There was like, I think there was like 300 applicants, and they only had like 40 or 30 spaces for interior design for the first course I wanted to do. And then I was the third. Like, they called the people, and I was like third, and I was like, I can't believe it. Like, it was the first time I actually excel at an exam of anything, and I had to do some technical drawing, and I did really good. And then I thought, like, okay, I'll just do it. And I started for a year, and I loved it. And then I continued. And bear in mind, I was already living by myself with my boyfriend then, and I needed money, but I was studying full time. So it was really, really hard for me to balance the full-time job and full-time studying, but I really wanted to do it. So it took me 6 years plus 1, so 7 years to complete interior design degree, which is a 4 years plus 1 plus like your thesis.
Yes.
So it took me 7 years to finish that because I will be working and studying.
You mentioned trouble youth growing up, right? You want to expand a little bit on that? What were the challenges, and if they were related also to the place where you grew up, Ibiza, which is very chaotic and marvelous and happening, but also probably sometimes you can get lost in it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it had that much to do with that, although my parents did move from Ibiza to Mallorca because they were searching better opportunities for us. Like, in case I moved from Ibiza when I was 14, my brother was 15 and a half. So it was a good time. I think my parents were really smart to see the dangers coming. So they thought, we'll move. The kids will have better chances to study, because in Ibiza, it's very famous but not for the studies. It's a party island, so the only thing you could study in Ibiza is tourism, which both were not interested in. Me and my brother are very artsy. My brother is a gamer. He works in the gaming industry, and I'm doing design. So they wanted us to go to uni and then to have more choices, so they did that for us. I think the fact that we moved when I was like 14 years old, and my brother 15, it was not good because we were like in our like puberty, it was our teenage years, so it was not a good moment to change that drastically. So I think it was an uncomfortable time for us moving, finding new friends where we already had a crew. So it was not that much like party or like danger or drug related, but it was more for like losing our close friends and, you know, having in this really bad situation. So it was more like a pavo, like a teenage rebel years. And it was bad at home. Like, my situation with my parents it was not very good. So I wanted to leave my place. So I actually ended up moving when I was 16. So I left my parents' house. I mean, they helped me to, actually, they made me promise to them that I will finish high school and they will help me to find an apartment, and they will help me if they had to help me like financially paying rent or something. But I had to promise them I will finish high school. And then, so I was actually, thank God, I didn't break this promise, because I wanted to be a hairdresser. I thought one day I went home and I was like, I'm going to become a hairdresser. And my mom used to like, you didn't even brush your hair. Come on. It's like, you don't want to become a hair. But, you know, I had this, you know, very troubled years, like, I guess, like more like adolescent, like teenage years.
And what's your background? Your parents are from Spain as well?
Yeah, well, my mom is from UK. She's British. But my father is from Mallorca, so they met. My father finished his career. He's a doctor, so he finished his study in Barcelona, and he moved to Ibiza. He had a job, his first job in Ibiza in Camises Hospital. My mom was a tourist guide. She went to Ibiza in the 80s, 70s, to be a tourist guide. There was a like tourism bomb at this point, and then they met. My mom used to bring all her drunk. All the Brits that got drunk and had pass out, she will bring them to my dad, and that's how they met, because she was the tourist guide bringing all the drunk British, and then my father would be the doctor assisting them. So it was it was love at first sight.
Yes, it's incredible to think how we make maybe a big number of bad decisions when we are in the teenage years.
Yeah.
But then we don't make. Some people make the fatal ones, and some people don't, and then your life totally changes.
Yes.
So okay, so now you are an interior designer.
Mm-hmm.
You finished 7 years later, and at that point, are you already working in design?
Yes.
You're doing this bathroom and kitchen job.
At that point, yeah. So basically, when I was doing my first year of the career, I was working in a cinema, like selling popcorn, like from 3:30 to 11, because that was the only job that I could do, going to class from 8 to 3, and then 3:30 I'll start in the cinema, and then do until 11. So I was like, this is so messed up. I don't want to do. So I thought, if I could get a job doing something related to design, then I can learn and I can make money at the same time. But then in Spain, there wasn't interior designers. Interior design is a profession that is really only known like now. But there was a lot of kitchen and bathroom design shops, or, they used to sell furniture. So I thought, if I can get a job in a kitchen showroom, then I can make money and learn at the same time. So I found this job. So I found this. There was some stores in Mallorca called Módulo, and then I joined. I had an interview at Módulo, and they were I saw an ad first, and they were looking for someone with 3 years experience, with a car, with a degree in interior design, and then don't know what more. Like a lot of things that I didn't have. But I went and I did the interview. And it was this. So the place was owned by two really cool sisters, and then they have inherited the business from their father, and they not only had showrooms, but they also had like a factory. So they used to do manufacturing their kitchen and bathroom cabinets, and then have all the shops. So I was working in the shop, and then, but it was not like only like a designer role, but more like a sales designer. So in Spain, you have to sell it and you have to then design it. So it's like, tú te lo guisas, tú te lo comes. Yeah. It's like, so you have to do everything. So I had to capture the client. So from the moment that they will come into the showroom, maybe wanting to buy, but not sure, right? And then I had to capture them and then show them everything, and then sit down with them and then draw the plans, and then potentially get a good lead, and then go to their houses and then measure, and then do all the drawings for production, and then put the kitchen into production. And so I had so many opportunities to learn in this job, because it was like I had to do everything. And then the after sales, so I learned so much. I learned fabrication, I learned from installation, I learned from customer service. So I think actually the sales job is just such a fundamental thing that I did in my career, like learning how to sell. And I use this throughout my entire life. I think sales is one of the most important things that an entrepreneur should do, because you learn so much.
Do you think that without this experience, you would have been able to found House of Butler?
No.
Even if you had, let's say, all the experience in Foster's?
No.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but
yeah. I did so. I'm still, every time I'm still in touch with Marga and Rosario, which own the shop. They're not anymore, but they used to own the shops. And I don't think they understand how grateful I am, because I'm always like, man, if it wasn't for you, but I don't think they understand how grateful I am, because my life will have been so much different if I didn't. And they hustle, like those two hustle like crazy. Like one of them had a baby, and then she went to work like a week later. She's like, I'm not doing this. I'm going back to, they were like this kick-ass like woman that I never actually met in my life, but I look up to them so much, and I'm so grateful to them. Like they actually give me everything, and they made me so confident later to believe that I could do anything, And they were like, they also pushed me. I worked for them 2.5, almost 3 years, but they were like, you go on, you do your stuff. They knew that I was on to do something, and they didn't want to like hold me back. So in fact, I had to quit this job so I could focus in finishing my 3rd year, because I was like, stuck, and I was working so much, and we were winning very good money because I will get a lot of commission, and I was selling like crazy. So it was a really cool thing. And it's like, I remember when I did the interview with Rosario, and she said to me like, you don't have anything of the things that I need. Like, you know, you don't have experience, you don't have a car, you don't even have a license. I didn't have a driving license. And she said, like, but you have so much, I really want to teach you, and I'm going to test it, like, if it works or not, because you really want this. And I was like, thank you so much. She was, yeah, they are great. They are so great.
And what is the moment in which, after this experience, you decide that Mallorca is too small for you?
I was sitting, well, I think it was in summer, and I had this apartment. It was actually really cool. I had so much space and a huge terrace. I had everything. I had a car then, and I had money. But so I was sitting there in my living room. I didn't have a TV. And I was thinking, like, I could meet so much people, because although my mom is English, she never spoke English to us because she was trying to learn Spanish at home. So our English was not very good. Like, it was a school English, which was definitely not enough to have a conversation. So I will be like, I was sitting there and thinking, if I could learn English, I could do so much more. I could meet so many people. I could have so many more opportunities, you know, and I could move and do something good. Like, you know, in Spain, I'm not going to do anything with design because, you know, my opportunities were so limited. Bear in mind, this was so long ago. Design was not even a thing. We had to get given, when we finished my degree, we had to get given like a paper that said from the government that said that our studies were valuable as interior designer. Like, it was not in Spain, it was not a thing, interior design. So it was like a very people didn't know really. So I was like, I'm leaving, and I can't be here and have zero chances and, you know, work on a furniture shop for the rest of my life. And no. So then is when I moved to, I thought I'm gonna move to UK. Original me, I moved to London. Like, after a month, I just packed and moved to London. So expensive, and I had, like, you know, so little savings, so I demolished all my savings in like a month. I was living in an apartment with 4-bedroom apartment with 13 Italian guys. 13 guys, and then me and my friend. So it was like 2 girls and then 13 guys. It was a fiesta, and they were all super young. So definitely not the most glamorous beginning in London at all, no.
What year is this?
I'm not good with the 2000 something, but I think I've been 10 years ago.
2013.
Yeah. 10 years ago. I've been 7.5, or maybe 11 years ago.
All right. So, and then you're having fun, and then working at Habitat.
Yeah.
What were you doing at Habitat? You were selling stuff?
I was also selling, yeah.
Yes, this is Habitat. For whoever doesn't know, Habitat is a very renowned lifestyle type of a shop. I've seen it in the Philippines actually. I don't know in how many countries they are.
Yeah,
so you go to London without a job, and you find a job in London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was there for I printed my CVs and I went everywhere. Basically, I went in the King's Road and I'm like, this is where I want to work. I'm not gonna go anywhere dark and dingy. Like, the King's Road is nice, enough rich people around here, nice cafes. I'm just gonna stay here. So I just left my CV in most of the shops in the King's Road. I knew I didn't want to work in a pub, and I didn't want to sell clothes because I don't like clothes. I don't like fashion. So I was like, I'll just do furniture. And then, a few days later, I think within a week of being in London, I already had this job. I mean, it didn't pay a lot. They paid like £6 per hour. It was like it was crazy. But and then so I started there, and after a little bit, like a month or something, they saw they had a kitchen department also there, and they saw I had experience with kitchens. So they told me, why you don't go down and, you know, work in the kitchens. So I was there, and we did like a role. It was not a designer role. It was called lead taker. So we will take leads to feed the designer. So if someone was looking at the kitchens, we had to explain, you know, this is made in Germany and the hinges are Bloom. And so, but then the good thing is that the designer, he was really cool, and he will teach us the software that they used to use in the UK for like kitchen design software. So me and my colleague Delphine, which we used to work together then, we were both designers, and then he wanted us to learn the software so we could leave quick, because he was like, you know, you need to learn. So after I learned, we learned this. I secured a job a few months later as a kitchen designer only in a showroom in East London. And I was doing only kitchen design. So someone else was doing the sales and I will do purely design.
And were you happy doing that?
Yeah, I always like kitchens. I like kitchens a lot. It's very easy for me because it's kind of very systematic thing. So once you learn how to do it, you become really, really good, which was very dangerous at this point because I was getting very specialized. So, I will get phone calls from recruiters saying, I got an amazing job in Bulldog for you, or like poke and pole, and they would offer me good money because I already had a lot of experience. But I wanted to be proper interior designer. No, I didn't want to specialize. So
you were saying no to offers.
yeah.
And then you have the first manifestation.
Yeah. I was living in Battersea. Well, I will say to everybody, I'm going to work at Foster and Partners. I want to work at, and people will be like, what are you talking about? But inside of me, I was thinking, I don't know if I can do it because I don't know if my title actually is valid for this. Because, I study in this Escola Superior de Diseño de las Illes Baleares. It's like, And then I was thinking, they will, they won't accept me. But then I was like, I really want to do it. And I will meet people. And I remember meeting someone that worked at Foster's one day. And I was like, I will work at Foster and Partners. And he was like, you don't want to. It's like, we overtime like crazy. It's horrible work environment. You don't want to do it. And I was like, no, I will work at Foster and Partners. And I was living in Battersea, which is next door to the studio. And sometimes I will walk by and I will sit there and stare at them. And they'll be working on Monday, super late, on Sunday, raining or good. Like, they will always work. But I will just think, one day I will work here. I'll pass with the bus and then look at the place and think, wait.
Okay. What attracted you to Foster and Partners?
It was flashy, it was big. And it was because in Spain, we as international architects, we don't have that much knowledge, right? The big ones that are most of them dead, and then Richard Rogers, and then Foster's, and Jean Nouvel, and then Foster's was one of the top. And I always thought it would be so cool because I'm a designer, but if I could work for an architectural firm, because I'm very interested in architecture, not that much on the sort of decoration side of design. So I thought if I could learn from these people, but I didn't even know that they had interior or they hired interiors, because all the projects that you see or I saw back then from Foster's were very much architecture purely. They only had 2 interior projects. That was the Monaco Yacht Club and then the hotel, what's it called? The Puerta de America in Madrid.
But did they do all of the floors, or
no,
just one of them?
One of the floors.
Okay.
So imagine if there was little interior design of projects on them. So they were not actually specialized in interior design. It was very, very little.
And so, how does it happen? How do you match with Foster and Partners?
I don't even know if I saw an ad and I replied to an ad, or I sent my CV on the website. I don't even know, but I got a call. But I really wanted this job, and I got a call one day from HR, and they said they're gonna call me to an interview. I didn't want to say I didn't say to anybody. I was so nervous. I'm I'm gonna mess it up. They're not gonna hire me, and everybody's gonna be so sad. So I didn't say to anyone. But the day before, I told this guy Pablo, who he had taught me 3D. He had taught me a lot. He was sort of like my mentor. He was a little bit older than me, and I look up to him a lot. So I told him, man, I have an interview tomorrow at Foster's, and I'm just shitting myself. I'm so scared. And then he's like, you are so good. They already called you. You're gonna make it. You are unbelievable. He was so supportive, and when I went there, I was just like, it's gonna be fine. They already called me. They're gonna hire me. And I went there, and I had such a good interview. And it was this Italian guy, Stefano, who was really, really nice. And everything went super well. And then, so they were looking at that moment, they were trying to assemble an interior design studio per se. So Foster's has, of course, architecture, they have engineering, they have product design, but they didn't have an interior design group per se. At that moment, they were actually assembling an interior design group. and they were looking for someone that had experience doing kitchens and bathrooms because they did a lot of residential projects. So it was like, you know, it was like perfect for me. Like the stars aligned for me, and then I got the job, and then a good offer, and there I went.
And how is it working inside the offices at Battersea?
It's really amazing. Because I even remember they have many buildings, right? They call it the campus because they have like 6 or 7 buildings. So they're all scattered around. It's huge. They're like 1,500 people. But I remember I had like we were the interiors group was downstairs in the main building where all the partners sit. So you will have to go through the partner's office down to the basement and then to the studio and then they had all this glass cladding so you could see like all the river and then the Chelsea Bridge and Battersea Bridge on the other side. So we work at night time and then we'll see all the Chelsea Bridge lights. It was like so cool, and it's so inspiring because the main studio, like they have all the models from all the buildings, and it's just like when you walk in, it's so high, and they have these beautiful models everywhere, and it's just so inspiring. It's like mind blowing. For someone like me, I was like, even when I did my interview, I was like, yo, I couldn't hold it. This is like, oh my god! And then all the partners are sitting there in the perfect desk with no clutter, like everything is perfect. It's just like so cool. Yeah, it was really it was super inspiring. And then the people that they work there are not mediocre people. Everybody is the best. You sit with someone and you'll have an amazing conversation. Doesn't matter what they do, like acoustic engineer or mechanical engineer, landscape, product. It's like having all the resources at your disposal. At your disposition. That's like everything. Everybody is good. Everybody's good. It's really cool.
Is this community a factor in maybe not feeling the stress so much? Because when I asked about how it was working at Foster's, and when you think about big companies, big firms, normally the common denominator is big stress, big expectations.
Yeah.
You need to bring your A game. But then your only memory, your first memory is how wonderful it was to work there.
I think the human brain is amazing, the capacity that we have to only remember the good things, which I think is a very nice characteristic. You don't want to get stuck to the negative. Of course, we overtime a lot, and we didn't get paid for the overtime. Not like with Gen Zs now that want to get paid or they don't want to overtime. No, we work our ass off, literally. We printed. I remember one time putting boards up for a presentation at 3:30 in the morning, and then preparing the entire room with like 100 boards, like A0 size, that we had printed just before. And then putting some plinth width materials, and then because the plinth width materials was 2 centimeters higher than the board, the partner was like, no, you have to take it down and then put everything up for 2 centimeters. And it's it's like, yes, it was so stressful, like big deadlines. Like sometimes they will come and say, oh, we need this and this 100 things. And I will be like, for when? And they will be like, for day after tomorrow. And I'll just like, I'm gonna throw up. Like this type of stress, really stress. We work a lot, but it's like university, right? It's like I think for the people that work there, you feel like it's like uni. It's like it's really rewarding somehow. It's always like, you don't remember the bad things. And of course it was, I was in Hong Kong eating dust literally for 2.5 years. But then somehow I only remember that I got to walk Norman Foster's around the Murray and show him everything, and then he loved it so much. And it's like, it doesn't matter. The other things doesn't matter. What you get paid, how much you overtime, it's just like, it's not important. Yeah.
Yes, but the gentleman, Sir Norman Foster, has a certain aura to himself. Have you watched the documentary that they did on him? Called "How Much Does Your Building Weight, Mr. Foster?" I knew about his work a little bit, but then I became enchanted through watching that documentary.
Yeah.
And how is it having him in flesh in the meetings?
It's the same as when you see him in the video. It's like enchanting. Like there is nothing you can ask that you cannot know just by seeing him and just feeling it, because he's just so. Did you know the energy? You know when someone just like, it's just beyond what it's like. He we had this when he one time he came and they asked him to give a talk to the office. So he said he didn't have nothing prepared. So he thought it would be a good idea to talk about how he meets clients and how he engages and how he starts a new project, right? And then he talked about like Chateau Margaux, which is one project in a beautiful winery in France. And how he met the client by cycling, because he really likes to cycle, and then how he met Steve Jobs and how he was flew to to see the area where they were going to build the campus, and it's just like he just had this energy. Like, I mean, he's 87 this year. He doesn't stop. He never stops drawing. He's always working. He's a workaholic for sure. But he has this energy. There's nothing you can ask him that you don't know. He was banker once, and then he managed to, even triplicate. Yeah, come back and triplicate. There's only someone that has the burning desire to make it. Then that will succeed. So he's this type of person.
And nowadays, how involved is he in projects? For example, I just pulled up one from the pictures that you sent me. This is the principal in London. Like you participated in this one.
Yeah, very much.
How, let's say, how are the big partners involved in this type of projects?
There is a board. So normally the structure works like there is like 7 executive partners, and those 7 are the ones that oversee like the aesthetic review of the project. So there's nothing that comes out without these partners looking at it. Norman Foster doesn't review all these small projects per se. They will, he especially now, which he's more involved in the Foster Foundation.
Okay.
So they do more other sort of other type of more special project, more social related, like they do different things.
Yes.
He's not as actively involved in the studio so much now, but they will. For example, when I was working in the football stadiums in the football stadium Lusail, he will come and then do some review. It depends on how much he has met the client and how much he has put his face on the project, I guess, so he will be more interested in making sure that the project really does look good.
Okay. No, it makes a lot of sense. So you moved everything, earth and mountains to go to London, but then Hong Kong kind of like sucked you in.
Yeah.
So from what I know, from what I remember, Foster and Partners was involved in the refurbishment of the Murray.
Yeah.
And then one day someone calls you and says, Amy, you need to come over. How does that happen?
It was crazy, because that's another thing that. So when I started in Foster, so I did like a few things in you work for projects, right? So I was working in the principal tower for like many months from the start to finishing, really. Until we handed over the construction documentation to the architects, and then I will work in the Lusail football stadium, and then Jeddah. I did a few projects, which is really good, because sometimes you only get to work in one project for 5 years. So I got a bit of everything, and then I asked to transfer to the Murray team because I really liked this project, and they were doing detailed design at this point, and I was really good at doing details. So then the partner there said, I'll swap you with someone and then you come over. So I managed to get into this project. I've seen this project so many times, because in Foster's, when you walk around, they put these big boards so you can see other studio projects, and the Murray was always up in the boards, and I always think like, wow, that project is so cool.
For people who don't know what the Murray is, maybe people that don't live in Hong Kong are seeing this. This is what we're talking about. It's one of the best brutalist buildings in Asia, 100%, probably in the world. It's
really, really good, and it was very sustainable at the moment. And the architect Ron Phillips is alive still. We go to work with him. But the project. So the building itself is so it's like a magnet. I was so attracted to this building. So when I started working in the project, I couldn't believe it. And we did a detailed design package, and I think it lasted for 3 or 4 months. And then after, like the senior partner says, like, ask me and Ben, my partner, who you know, we were working together in the same team. He asked us, "Do you guys want to go?" Because he was offered the opportunity to come and oversee the renovation, but he didn't want to. And he was like, "Do you guys want to go?" And I was like, yes, like, at that point I wanted to move somewhere in Foster, so I was looking at maybe LA or San Francisco. I wanted to transfer, but they have told me that it's impossible to transfer in Foster. No one transfer in Foster, because why will they transfer you? They can hire someone. And I was like, I will transfer for sure. And then when they told me this, I was like, of course we're going. So we came with 18-month contract originally, and then we ended extending our contract to 25 months. And then after that, the boss here, Colin, was like, why you don't guys stay? And I was like, yeah, I really want to stay. We love Hong Kong so much. But so we were 25 months, I think, 2 years and a little bit more on site building the Murray. Yeah, all from the ground up. 23 stories in the dust, going up and down the stairs because they didn't have elevators until really later on. So and that was super cool. Also, such an amazing experience.
And how is the process of taking a heritage building from an architect who's alive and rewriting the usage of the building and probably changing the aesthetic? How deep was the renovation?
It was a lot, because I don't know if you've seen, there is a photo that is like a car park. So, but
yes,
like,
this is that's what we're talking about.
That was like, so basically, what you see here is only like half of the arches. So the arches are double-story high, but the car park, so the slab was cutting the arches through in half. So the big arches only came when Foster's punched through the slab to make this super amazing arrival experience, which I can help you. Yeah.
Yes.
So you see that sort of in the middle, it was cut. So the arches now are free. So it's like 4-story high arches. And then, I mean, the architectural move was minimal, but very, very important and very impressive, and improved the building a lot. And then for the interiors, because the building was designed so the sun didn't, the windows are sort of angled 45 degrees, and this was because it was a sustainable effort at the time to make if the window is not parallel to the sun, it's not straight, there's not so much sun coming. So if you tilt the window 45 degrees, then you get more shading. Therefore, like, people inside is like protected from the sun, and then you don't have to
refrigerate
less energy. So it was a really, really smart move. Bear in mind, this building was built in the 60s. So it was like a really smart, sustainable move. But then, of course, as an interior point of view, it didn't work that well, because you come into your room and you have a window that is 45-degree angle, so you don't get the view, Some of the rooms overlook the Hong Kong Park, and it's beautiful to see like a square window. So like what Foster's did, which was very clever, and I was not part of the original design team, because that started very early on. They took the layout and they rotated all the rooms. So originally they started drawing in a grid, right? But this didn't work. So they took the layout and they rotated all the rooms 45 degrees. So every door was parallel to your window. So every time you open the door, you get a like perfect square with a perfect view of the city or of the Hong Kong Park facing like for every room. So it's really, really special. Also, I mean, very complicated when you do M&E and all the ceiling coordination, because all the beams but it was really, really nice move.
It is a very special place. When I spent one night during my 10th anniversary, and it has a certain magic, because you are overviewing the city, but somehow you have the feeling that you are hiding and no one can see you from the rooms.
Yeah.
So you were there for 2.5 years. The big boss, Mr. Foster, comes at the end to check it out, or he was coming often to...
He was coming to China to accompany his son for something. I don't remember, something family thing. But then he decided to stop over and pay a visit to the hotel, which have just been handed over, not officially open, but just been handed over. And then we got to walk him around the hotel. It was me and Ben. So me and Ben did pretty much a lot of the interiors.
We have I'm gonna find the picture.
It is. I mean, even my even for that, I couldn't dress properly. Like I'm always like, yeah, fashion is not my strength. But yeah, and then we got to meet Elena, which is, I mean, everybody's pretty scared of her, but I think she's an amazing woman. And me and her got along like a house on fire. And we showed them everything. Like we toured them around all the hotel, and it was just us, and it was really personal. At that moment, I could have died. Like, when he left, I started bawling. Of course, it was so exciting, so I cried my eyes out. And Ben was like, "What's wrong with you? Like, it's hormones or the..." And I was just so excited. And like, it was like, yo, if I live for anything, it's for this. If I die tonight, I'm okay. Like, I just done it. I've like fulfilled my dream. This is amazing. Just talk one with him, regardless of what he thinks about the building. I just been with Norman Foster. I was just like, and yeah, it was so special, so special.
So what happens after the Murray is completed?
So I work in a few other projects in Foster's. We did like a shopping mall here and there, and I was like, oh, this is boring. I'm not gonna be on site. Nothing was cutting it because I just done everything. I just walked Norman Foster and I was like, I don't want to design a shopping mall in Wuhan. So then I decided, I was very inspired by all the things that had happened, and I also really wanted to try something out in Hong Kong because everything is so fast. I was like, I can't do anything here. I really wanted to take like creative freedom and then do my own stuff and just do my own stuff. So I founded my design studio, House of Butler.
And that we're talking about the year 2018, 2019?
4 years ago. Yeah.
How was the beginning? Did you start the studio already with a client, or you started from zero?
I started from zero, but I had a client like pretty much like a week after. And it's funny because some people will be like, "Oh, what are you?" Ben likes to think that he's very positive, but he was not that very. He was like, "Oh, when are you gonna take your clients from? And how are you gonna do? And how are you gonna better?" And I was like, "It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't bring your negativity to me. Just like, just let it be. It's gonna be fine." And yeah, I pretty much had a first client straight away. Yeah.
How do you find him?
I don't know. They found me. I don't know, or through someone. I don't know exactly what was the connection, but if someone had told them that I was starting my studio and they knew someone, there was someone that knew someone that had recommended me.
And so you get the first client.
Yeah, did the first project.
How does it feel like being, from a big team to being on your own? Do you feel the cold? Is that moment exhilarating or scary?
I think now, because I'm Mrs. Busy, so I try to keep myself busy. If I get deep into thought and I start getting scary about things, then I try to get myself busy and I don't think about it too much. I think now, 4 years later, sometimes it does feel like this is a lot. I miss having a team. I miss talking with work colleagues that are sort of at the same level as me. I don't want to be giving orders. I don't even know something. I don't want to have to explain things. And then it does feel more lonely. And then sometimes if clients don't come in and then you question, am I doing something wrong? Or what is it's very lonely. Yeah, entrepreneurship is lonely, but it's rewarding at the same time. Yeah.
How much are you spending now in actually, creating business by going out, networking and designing? What is the ratio? How much time are you spending?
99.5 to 0, not 0.5. I network 0. Like, I don't network. I don't go to events. I'm the worst. I will only go to an event if it's your event or if it's a friend that is asking me to. But I'm really bad, and I should definitely be better at it. Like, I'm super bad at networking.
I mean, well, the positive message is that if people come to you, it's because they like your style. And actually, when you explained me your life about, all of this, when we met years ago, about your kitchen design experience and, that being the reason why you got hired by Foster, or one of the reasons, I didn't realize that there is another very important factor, which is, I think you two the studio or himself and Amy and House of Butler, you have a common language that you like minimalism, you like textures, you like how to say coziness in the design. Because even in, for example, I just pulled up a double bathroom that Amy designed with her studio. I mean, I can tell you that the walls are made of tiles, but you from this picture you would think that you can actually lay on it and have it be comfortable. What's the reason why you always design things in such a minimal way?
I guess I wanted to be an architect, but I thought like I can't do it. And I'm not that. Yeah, but I like interiors. Like I like architectural interiors. I consider myself an interior architect. In fact, I study interior architecture. We did like more things to do with structure, and it was like a bit like sort of like an in between interior designer, like a decorator and an architect. I have a lot of friends that are interior designers, but they are very good with choosing wallpaper or fabrics or like 100 like different paint brands. I don't know I like big format tiles, or I like jointless. I like something without joint. For me, is the how you put two things together and you don't see a seam is like something that blows my mind. And for maybe someone else is not interested in that, but I like a smooth finish. I don't really do that well with texture, a lot of textures and then patterns. Well, I hate patterns. So I'm very much, I like everything to be really calm.
And how is your typical client? How is the client that chooses you over someone that is a little bit more like Bill Bensley or things like this?
I think now, because I already have enough portfolio to sort of showcase, they come to me because they know they like the stuff that we are doing. Normally my clients are Hong Kong locals, but are normally educated abroad. So like this project, the client was she studied in the States or spent half of her life in the States, but she's a Hong Kong. They're a family from Hong Kong. So normally, they are more open to European influence, and they like architecture. They don't like clutter that much, and they like a little bit of minimalist style. It's minimalist, but it's not like cold. I wouldn't say. It's always. I always try to keep it cozy, but we have so much going on in life. There's so much. Like you don't want to come home and see patterns and textures and think that gives you a headache. It's just not. It's not.
Yeah, you want to come home to this.
Yeah, it's like more zen, right? And then just read your book or have a nice conversation, not just be like distracted with all the things around. There's already so much going on.
Yes.
There is a lot in Hong Kong about interior design and architecture that comes from the local culture and also beliefs, and also I don't want to misspeak or mispronounce, but it's called Feng Shui.
Yeah.
And you have to learn any of that and incorporate it in your design.
I haven't learned per se, but I do have some clients that are really insistent in bringing a Feng Shui master to check on things. So I don't normally work hand to hand with a Feng Shui master, but normally they will bring them a little bit before, and then the Feng Shui master will go like, oh, you can only put your bed here, or you have to have a wall from here to here. And then sometimes it's very restrictive what we can do because of the building orientation, and they will tell you that the bed needs to be against that wall, and I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this. You can do something nice if you want to do this arrangement. So, but generally, it's quite Feng Shui. It's quite straightforward. Also, it's like it's very. I memean, it's all about the energy, right? And creating clean paths for the energy to flow around. So if you have an entrance and you put a wall in front of so the energy is not going to flow, or you have like a corner. So it's kind of a very common sense thing. I think sometimes these things, I don't know if it's marketing but it sometimes feels that it's more than what it is. Sometimes it is very annoying because they will be like, oh, you have to have like a wall from the, so if you open the door to your apartment, you cannot see outside. So sometimes, of course, the apartments are so small, so the door is here and then there's a window here. But they want you to block because they say the energy will go through the window. Energy equals money in most of the time, so the money will go through the window. So they want you to create some sort of parapet, so you stop the money going. But sometimes it's impossible in a 50 square meter apartment. You can't do parapets, like you can't fit your dining room table. So I had a client right now that I was like, we can't do this because then you can't fit your dining room table if you want to do a parapet. So or feng shui or dining room. So sometimes but I do try to be respectful to this because it's it's inherent, and I also think it's interesting to learn. But sometimes even though after we do the plans and we start the design, our client will bring the feng shui consultant like sort of halfway, which could be really like disturbing. But sometimes the feng shui, they actually even say, oh no, actually this plan works really well because they already have created this cabinet here, which helps to block the money, like, the money going out. So it's common sense, I would say. I think I could do a little bit more of feng shui if I had time. I would really definitely like to learn because I think it's something cool that then later you can also apply. But sometimes it's sometimes it's crazy.
If I was you, I would bring one to the team, like a feng shui consultant.
Yes.
You do it from the beginning.
Yeah. It's very. I think I have thought about it also. Like even to learn a little bit. I really want to. And also, it's only like Hong Kong. If you want a good feng shui consultant, you have to speak Cantonese because the good ones are the old school ones. So you have to speak Cantonese. So I think having like a Wailo that can do a bit of feng shui, it could definitely be marketable.
Marketable, and this is something that when I met you, you appeared to me as a purist, but then I discovered that you are actually a very good salesperson, and you have adapted very well into the content creation sphere, and you have become very active. You said that you don't network, but I think that's a perception that you have for yourself. If you allow me to disagree, I'm going to disagree strongly. You have started doing putting yourself out there, which is actually it requires a lot of work, and I'm sure that will bring a lot of success in the future. Now, looking what you have done in the past, you have established, you have survived. We are post-COVID, so let's say we are here, and we made it. What's next for you? What are meaningful things that make you wake up in the morning, and I know it's not because it's not money. What it stimulates you now when it comes to a project?
I think one of the things that I always say, like for the studio, like I like to work with, like it's like this tagline, like this motto, like we design beautiful homes for beautiful people or beautiful spaces for beautiful people. I like to work with nice people. And in Hong Kong, sometimes it's rare, because a lot of people is very stressed and they have their mates and they think they can mistreat people. And I'm like, no. So I actually always have a sit down with my client before and I make sure that we get along and they are nice because I don't want to be stuck doing things with someone that I don't think is nice. So I definitely like to work with good people. And then right now I'm working with Women of Hong Kong in creating the Women's Lounge in Central. So with founder Sarah V, which is an amazing woman, which is she's a Filipino founder, and she started this network for, just to promote sisterhood and entrepreneur, to help each other and to promote different businesses and then she's now started this venue, she opened this venue and she reached out to me to help with the interior design. So I think this is the type of network that I like doing, meaningful network. It's okay, I'll help you out to do the space. It gets of course it gives me exposure, but it helps me to utilize my passion or my knowledge in design to actually do something meaningful for someone that is nice, that will ultimately impact in a lot of people's life, because right now the network is 8,000 plus women,
Wow.
and then it goes on and like every day they have more people joining. So it's like I'm ultimately designing a beautiful space for 8,000 beautiful women, and then for whoever steps on in the future. So this is my type of networking, I will say, like, you know, just go out there and do something that has impact for the community later on.
So we're looking at actually the space that you designed for them. That's in Hollywood Road.
Yeah, Hollywood, what's it called? Hollywood Commercial House, the building in
Okay.
the 4th floor.
It's very Amy.
It's very Sarah V also. Like, I mean, she's so amazing, and you know, to have a network that big, to have power to attract so many. I mean, people. Yeah, I design things, and people pays me for that, but they won't come with me if I tell them to go somewhere. Especially 8,000. You know, it's like it's a lot of. You have to have a lot of energy to move a crowd like that. So I think definitely I admire her a lot. Like, you know, it's like this type of like kick-ass woman, and this network, I am part of a few networks, of course, because of work I have to, but I think this network is especially special because it's women of Hong Kong. It doesn't matter if you are from South Africa or if you are Italian or if you are Spanish, you are a woman of Hong Kong because you consider yourself, well, I consider myself woman of Hong Kong as much as a Spanish woman. So I think, yeah, the network is great, and the space is gonna look great. It's gonna open in 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
2 weeks.
Can we pay a visit one day?
Yeah,
Well,
of course.
Next time you go, send me a message.
Of course, yeah. Now the space is aimed to be a safe haven for women, to promote like sisterhood and empowerment, but of course we have a male toilet.
No. But I'm just curious about the architecture. Of course, I don't want to mingle into any.
I mean,
other
it's very
business.
bare. You know, it's like they don't have a lot of founding, but you know, it's gonna look pretty and very comfortable. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll tell you when we open. I think there's gonna be like a proper opening party. So I'll let you know.
Parties are always good. I have a question for you. With all of this that you're doing, how do you find time? Let's say where did you come up with inspiration? How do you find the time to actually put in motion the kitchen business? Because that's something very, let's say, innovative and revolutionary in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I don't know really. I just I basically, you know, before I mentioned like I was working in the kitchen department in Habitat with my friend Delphine. So then she became my best mate, and then Delphine now she lives in New York. She has a baby, and but we always said, oh, one day we will have our own kitchen business. Like we dream of doing that, and then so through my design studio, I've been working with a lot of suppliers, Italian suppliers, Spanish, from everywhere, importing stuff. The only trick about importing goods is to have a good forwarder, reliable forwarder, which I've gone through a lot. But and then to have a good system, to implement a good system. Once you have this, then it's like everything is easy. The thing about kitchens is that people don't know how. Well, the thing about Hong Kong is that, or you pay China stuff that is like cheap and the quality is bad. Not saying all the stuff from China is bad, but 85% is. And then or you get imported products that are super expensive because people is here marking up things like 1,000 times. This is crazy. The markups is ridiculous. Or so you have option A, which is cheap and bad quality, or option B, which is European quality, which in Europe is not that extreme, but it is normal. European quality, but paying like gold price is crazy. So I thought, like, you know what? There is we can do this like much easier. So through the studio, I work with these suppliers. So I'm working with Cesar to import kitchens. I was using these kitchens for my own interior projects. So I thought I'll just do a separate studio, kitchen design studio only. And then I will help not only B2C, so direct clients that are working with other designers to do kitchen projects, but also architects or other interior design studios can outsource this to us because it's our expertise. Because I can sleep, I can design kitchens while I sleep. It's so easy for me. But for some so for some people it's really technical. They don't know what to do. They don't know how many amps, how much voltage does one have. Like, you know, those things that I can do like literally in my coffee break. Yeah.
Yes.
So now we have assembled. Of course, I cannot sell you a kitchen or sell an architect a kitchen and then don't give support, because it's a special product. It needs to be done properly. So what we created that system. So now we have a specialized design team, we have a specialist installation team, we have counter installation, and then we do the appliances also through all the suppliers from Siemens or Miele. We have accounts with all the authorized dealers in Hong Kong, so we can offer the full package. So not only like to a person like you, like someone else can buy, or like a design studio
or to Foster's.
But the idea was that we can so that we don't only do beautiful things in our projects, but we can actually extend our tentacles to other projects and then also help other people to make things beautiful too. Like, not saying that our kitchens are more beautiful than others, but
yes, but you say that. You have to say that.
But they are.
They are.
Kitchen are such an important part of our life, especially in Europe, right? Where you have spaces where you can actually cook with a lot of space, and they are very intimate and cozy and meaningful for us. We can think about our kitchens at home. What is a happy kitchen for you?
For me, because I don't cook that much and I'm a little bit of a minimalistic, like, I mean, our studio kitchen now is black. It's a black with a black counter, so it's like a library, more like a library kitchen. But I think a happy kitchen is like a big island, so a big like surface where everybody can gather around, where they can have drinks, where there's like sitting area, like good area for conversation, and it's probably concealed. Like, everything, all the clutter is sort of hidden away, and it can kind of disappear if you have someone coming over. But yeah, I think a happy kitchen in Europe is pretty much like, your mom is cooking, and then me and my brother are sitting down, and then having a beer, or and then my father is coming in, and he's bringing all his fish that he's just fish and putting it over the counter, and my it's like this is like a moment, like an opportunity for people to interact. I'll say, like, that's a happy kitchen, and if this mama's food, then it's better.
Good. Amy, now we have. I think you're gonna. You need. It's mandatory for you to go on holiday. Are you going away from Hong Kong, or are you staying here?
Just next month. I have to wait until next bank holiday to Bangkok.
You're going to Bangkok. No, you're gonna need the holiday because you have a lot of things going on. And since I met you, you have scaled up on and on. So I'm sure that, I mean, we are almost neighbors and we're going to see each other again. I was about to say, I hope that you come back here to the podcast one more time, but it's only if you had fun today. What did you think?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
It was
so
okay?
much. Yeah, very, very
Was it
good.
too terrible?
It was actually, it was very easy. I'm going to keep talking.
It's not difficult. It's actually better than the other time we met, because the posture is easier. You are kind of relaxed. We have a fantastic director in the persona of Filippo. Thank you, Amy, very much. I love this podcast because it gave me a chance to hang out with you. That it was well overdue, and now we have to organize a dinner with Ben and Kate and everyone. People, by the way, so if you want to get a nice kitchen quality where you can have all of the nice dynamics in your home, you need to go to cucinadhk.com, and they have a system that will allow you to have the best possible at the least possible price. I didn't say that at the beginning because I'm a terrible podcast host, but for the ones who made it to the end, we have a sponsor called the Wine Not. That's winenot.com.hk, and it's giving everyone that checks out with the code LASTMEET, LASTMEET, an extra 5% discount. And the prices are so low already. So everyone should stack up for the Mid-Autumn Festival. Happy weekend, everyone. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Filippo. All the best to you.
Nice.
Ciao, ciao.